Hello, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Wingervasio, and today we're going to be covering lesson 1.3, subtracting integers. Don't forget for our note setup, you need to make sure you have the chapter number, which is 1.3, and the title of our lesson, which is subtracting integers. Make sure you circle or highlight the following lesson. And also, don't forget to put the date for our notes today. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and get started with some key ideas. Today we're going to focus on subtracting. And what we're going to be subtracting is integers. So I would like for you to write down subtracting integers on your notes. And I would like for you to copy down this also example and definition. So they have an example here for you. It says here 3 minus 4 equals negative 3. So what they did is they started from 0. They went over 3, subtract 4. So they started from 0 from here. But then to show 4, they're going to go from 3 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, to show that this is a negative 4. Now, if you look at this part right here, what's left over will be this part. Whatever the leftover part right here will be your answer. So if you look at the spaces between here, this is going to be negative 1. So this is one way you can solve this math problem using a number line. Now, it did say to subtract an integer, you add its opposite. So I do have another definition, another way you can do this. I have here a definition that says here, in a subtraction, you do what I call keep, flip, and change, which stands for KFC. And after you do that, you would follow the rules for addition. So if you can also, after you copy down this, and after you copy down this example here, in the star right here, this example, you also need to copy down this. So whatever you see in purple that I went ahead and boxed or highlight or underline, please copy that down. So what does keep, flip, change look like and how do we apply to it? So I'm going to go ahead and show you in the next slide. So if you need more time to copy down this slide, go ahead and pause it and then press play. Okay, so as I was saying, for subtraction problems, you can do what is called keep, flip, and change, and you don't have to use the number line. Although if you do like to use the number line, you're more than welcome to look back to see how it's done here. But I'm going to show you the method with keep, flip, change for subtraction. So what you're going to do is you're going to keep the first number as it is, whatever the problem is, and what you're going to do to the sign for the subtraction is you're going to flip it to the opposite. So you ask yourself, what's the opposite of subtract? And that would be add. And what C stands for is the change. So you change this 12 into the opposite. What's the opposite of 12? Well, the opposite of 12 is a negative 12. And if you remember in my last slide, my definition said, in a subtraction, you keep, flip, change, and follow the rules for addition. So if you notice, subtraction problems become addition problems. Subtraction problems always become addition problems. So now, knowing what you knew from the last lesson, you can take what you know for addition. So if you notice the signs are different, this is a positive, this is a negative. If the signs are different, in the last lesson we learned that we will subtract, so 12 minus 3, that's going to be 9. And then you carry the sign of the larger number. Which number is larger? 12 is larger, so the answer is going to be negative. So the answer to number or letter A would be negative 9 using the KFC method. If you didn't get that and you want to watch example A again, go ahead and press replay. You can hear that again. Or if you're ready to move on, I'm going to go ahead and move on to letter B. So in letter B, we have, again, the same method we're going to use KFC. So we have negative 8 minus negative 13. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep the negative 8 as it is, and we're going to flip this subtraction to an addition. And then we're going to change the last number, which is a negative 13, into a positive 13. Now our subtraction problem becomes an addition problem. Does everybody see? Okay, so now that it's an addition problem, it says here we need to follow the rules for addition. So we know that this is a negative plus a positive. Are the signs the same? No. So if they're not the same, the rules for addition says you subtract. So 13 minus 8, you're going to subtract that. And then after you subtract that, you're going to look to see which number is bigger. I noticed that 13 is bigger. So then are you going to have a negative or a positive answer? And if you answered positive, you are correct. So did you figure out what 13 minus 8 is? Okay, if you said 5, you are correct, so the answer will be 5. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you the last one before you do the on your own. So for this one, again, keep. Let's see if this time if you can guess to see which signs you will write. So if you can answer it in your head. Keep, positive 5, change to subtraction 2, addition, and change this negative 4 to the opposite. What's the opposite of negative 4? Positive 4. Okay, now I like this problem because it's a little different from the last two. This is a positive 5, and this is a positive 4. Remember in addition, if the signs are the same, you just add and carry the sign. Why do you carry sign? Because they both have the same sign. So if you add 5 plus 4, that's 9. Since they both are positive, the answer is just positive 9. Now, if you notice, I went ahead and put a positive in front of here and positive in front of here. You don't necessarily have to, but I just put it there so that you can see that these are positive answers. Okay? All right, if there's something that you didn't understand from this particular example, feel free to press pause or replay it again. All right. Now, for the on your own, don't forget, we always do the on your own on a separate sheet of paper. So if you can please take out a sheet of paper to do the on your own, it's your homework for tonight. There's going to be about 13 problems, so these are the first 6. Go ahead and pause the video. Take as much time as you need to do this, and then when you're ready, press play to move on to the next part. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and move into example 2. Now, the only difference with example 2 is that the problems get longer. The integer problem gets longer. So now we have not only 1, 2 integers to subtract, we have 3. So remember when we're solving longer problems, we're going to do it from left to right. So we're going to do these two first. Okay, so we're going to talk about negative 7 minus negative 12. I'm just rewriting the problem, so if you can do that too. Again, don't forget for our notes, we copy everything down and all the examples that I do. All right, so let me just redo that part again. So again, we're going to use the method KFC. So we have K, F, and C. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep the negative 7 as it is. Now flip means we're going to change the subtraction to addition. And change means we're going to change this negative 12 into a positive 12. Okay, so now we're going to have to solve it. So we're going to go ahead and solve it. Looking at the signs, I see that this is a negative and this is a positive. So if the signs are different, we subtract. So when we subtract 12 from 7, we get how much? 5. If you said 5, you are correct. So when we put down here 5, we now have to decide, is it going to be a negative or is it going to be a positive? If you said positive, you are correct because why? The bigger number tells us the sign, so that's the sign. So now that we have a positive 5 here, we still have to bring this value down. So we are not finished solving the problem until we bring down the last value. So we have here not a 14, but what's in front? A negative, or we can say minus 14. So now we do this problem one more time. So we're going to do K of C. So we're going to keep the number as it is. We're going to flip this negative into a positive, and we're going to take the 14 and change it into the opposite, which is negative 14. Now let's look to see if the signs are the same. I have a positive here, and I have a negative here. Are the signs the same? If you said no, you are correct. So if they're not the same, you're going to go ahead and subtract 14 away from 9. And so if you can subtract that for me. And if you said 9, you are correct. And would 9 be the final answer or would it be negative 9? Well, if we look here at the problem, we're going to look to see which one's the bigger number. 14 is the bigger number and it happens to have a negative, so the answer is negative 9. And there you go. So if this problem didn't make sense to you and you need to rewatch it again, please press pause, press replay, and watch this part again. Okay? All right. Continuing on with the homework paper that you started with earlier, I would like for you to do problems 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, 12. Again, these sets of problems are done on a separate sheet of paper on your own paper that you started. And the only difference with this problem is that they have 3 integers instead of 2 to solve now. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video if you need more time. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our last example, which is example 3. We're talking about continents and we're doing comparison between North America, us, and Africa. So there's many mountains in North America and Africa, and we want to know which continent has the greatest range in elevation? In other words, which one's going to have the highest elevation? So what we're going to do is we're going to take the highest and the lowest and subtract them for each country. So here's the highest and lowest for North America, and here's the highest and lowest for Africa. So we're going to do this twice. So I'm going to go ahead and set up North America by writing down 6,198. And what we're going to do is we're going to find the difference. And the difference means to subtract. So this is a subtracting lesson. So we're going to put 6,198 subtract a negative 86. And then we're going to go ahead and solve that by doing KFC. I'll remind you up here, KFC. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep the first number the same. We're going to go ahead and flip the subtraction to addition. And we're going to change the last number into the opposite, which is positive 86. So now again, our subtraction problem becomes an addition. So I'm going to go ahead and add these two numbers up really quick in my head. And we're going to get 6,284 meters. Okay, so that's for North America. Let's go ahead and do the comparison for Africa. So we're going to find the difference or the range in elevations by looking for their difference. We're going to take the highest, 5,895, and we're going to go ahead and compare it by subtracting it from the lowest. Subtract. Notice I put subtract negative 155. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and do keep. So keep the first number the way it is. 895. Sorry about that. 8. Flip, because we're going to take the subtraction, put it into addition, and change the second number into the opposite. So opposite of negative 155 is positive 155. So as you can see, it's very similar to the one in North America. We're just adding these two numbers. Oops. We're just adding these two numbers up. Let me go ahead and redo that. I'm going to go ahead and redo that. Sorry, class. So adding these two numbers up. So we have here 155. So add 155 right there. So we're going to add these two numbers up. And so when we add this up, we'll get 6,050 meters. So now we can go ahead and answer the question. Which continent has the greater range of elevation? So we look at the two. Which one has a greater range? The answer would be North America. So North America would be the answer for the greatest range. Okay. Now, I would like for you to go ahead and do number 13, the last problem for the on your own for tonight's homework on the same paper of the homework you've been doing. And go ahead and answer this question. Again, to find the range, you're going to take the highest and subtract it from the lowest. All right? Okay. Don't forget, we do have an exit ticket at the end of every lesson. So here's your exit ticket. Please make sure you read the question carefully and answer the question. We will discuss this tomorrow when we get into class. Finally, this is your checking point. So for tonight's video homework, don't forget you need to have your video notes, your on your own completed, and your exit completed so that we can have our discussion tomorrow. Okay, so if there's anything that you did not get, feel free to press pause, replay it again. Other than that, I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day.